have a large population of student members.
We're going to talk today about the challenge of managing the professional career life cycle of supply chain management professionals. With my guest today, John Bowersox. He is manager of customer service operations with Kohler Company. John, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate the opportunity.
Describe for us the challenge, because it is an interesting one that we don't think too much about when it comes to the career life cycles of supply chain professionals.
Sure, absolutely. Over the past couple of years, CSCMP's seen a lot of evolution in the industry around young professionals coming into the supply chain industry. I think we'd all agree that over the last couple of years, supply chain as a whole has really become a hot topic, and there's a lot more exposure in the media and in the industry about it. CSCMP looked at its current member base a couple of years ago and said, wow, we've got a lot of folks that have been part of the organization for a long time. By and large, our membership base is aging. Our demographic isn't truly representative of what our entire industry is in terms of the workforce. So the organization challenged a group of young professionals to come together and start to understand how we could better manage the life cycle of the membership for young professionals as a whole.
So the sweet spot here, what we're talking about is from what age to what age is your focus right now?
So right now our focus is we have a large population of student members, about 1,000 student members. And the young professional as defined by CSCMP is folks between really the ages of about 22 or 23 and 30 years old. We only have about 300 young professional members right now in the organization. So that difference between 1,000 student members, only about 300 young professionals, and then a global organization of multiple thousands of members tells us that we have a big opportunity there.
Does that reflect the proportional numbers of that age group in the world of supply chain, or is it simply that CSCMP needs to do a better job of attracting these people who really are out there?
Yeah, it's really the latter of the two, Bob. We know by and large that type of ratio doesn't truly represent the young professionals in the workforce today. So it's really CSCMP's need to better understand how we convert and retain student members into young professionals as they transition from the academic life into their workforce, and how does the organization as a whole better attract student members through products, services, so on and so forth.
I suppose we could look at the positive side and say those 1,000 students suggest a very bright future for supply chain. A lot of younger people who for the first time realize that this is a viable career.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you look at some of our programs that CSCMP has here, the Student Ambassador Program, the engagement with the universities, we're doing a fantastic job of harnessing that newly minted college graduate through that point where they get into the workforce. It's there that we're starting to lose them in terms of retention within the organization.
I wonder if anyone's done any kind of look into why it's this way.
Oh, it's funny you'd ask. It's part of what CSCMP's asked the YP committee to do. One of our main objectives over the past year was to conduct a comprehensive survey of young professionals to try to better understand why we weren't in fact retaining them as members. And we were fortunate enough to have about 800 respondents to the survey. The survey generated for us what we believe is a statistically relevant sample of the young professionals today in the industry, and it told us a tremendous amount about the young professional, their needs, and how CSCMP can better align with those needs. Part of it, which we were a little surprised to hear, is simply better communicating what CSCMP offers. And then part of it was, of course, some expanded offerings in terms of products and services that we don't currently have today.
That first part I find very surprising, but this is the premier organization of supply chain professionals in the United States, and indeed one of the biggest ones in the world. How could they not know? Especially since they probably all came up in supply chain programs in the colleges. Again, it seems strange to me that they wouldn't know, but if that's the case, I guess that's what you face.
We were quite surprised to hear that, honestly. To your point, CSCMP is the world's leading supply chain organization, and there is a tremendous amount of awareness across the young professionals around the need or importance of an industry organization as a whole. CSCMP's got a premier brand name and has what I'd call a kind of an industry standard or cultural relevance for folks in supply chain. But CSCMP also offers a ton of products and services, whether it's networking events and educational events like the annual Global Conference, research like the State of Logistics Report, or things like the Career Fair. By and large, I think what the survey told us is that we have a little bit of an opportunity to better articulate that breadth of services to the young professionals.
Okay, so tell me more about the makeup of the committee.
Sure. So the committee is made up exclusively of volunteers, similar to the rest of CSCMP's committee. Was fortunate enough over the past couple of years, our young professionals chairperson sits on the board of directors within CSCMP, so we've got good strategic alignment with the board of directors. Sarah Giffen from UTI had served in that capacity last year. I'm stepping into that capacity this year. Then the committee itself is into 4 major segments. We have an annual global conference coordinator that's responsible for developing and creating the track and social events here at the annual global conference. We have a marketing and communications coordinator that's responsible for our monthly newsletters, our social media accounts, and really the communication aspect of the committee. We have a products and services development coordinator that's really charged with evaluating the products and services and understanding if we have the right products and services. And then finally, we have a roundtable liaison. We've seen pretty clearly that the roundtable is truly what I'd call the ground zero battlefront with a young professional. So those 4 committees and then members at large supporting those committees. We have a total of 22 members on the committee this year from a number of different industry verticals across the board.
I'm guessing that the roundtable effort could prove particularly fruitful because you're on the ground and you know the networking within individual regions is so strong. That seems to be a good opportunity, right?
Yep, you're right on. There's really 2 main attributes we think that make the roundtable attractive for a young professional. First and foremost is the proximity of the roundtable to the young professional. And second is the cost associated with that. We know that as young professionals enter the workforce, it takes a little time to get company sponsorship and support to belong to organizations, to travel to events like the annual global conference. So we truly believe that that proximity of the roundtable and then the cost position that most of our roundtable events operate at really gives us a good opportunity to attract YPs to those events.
So does this initiative itself have a life cycle? Do you have a timetable where you really start to start seeing some results?
It's a great question. It's still in its infancy. I would say as a whole. We're 4 years into the total effort, but we're really only in our 2nd year as a formal committee. We certainly have some goals and expectations around what type of membership retention we'd like to see. We've got some specific goals this year around expanding the products and services, but I think the long-term timeline is yet to be determined. As CSCMP as a whole continues to focus on the product, I'd say the member life cycle and how that differs through the life cycle of the member, we do believe that continuing to evaluate the YP area will be of strategic importance for us. So, long story short, I don't think we know yet.
Okay, well of course any young professional watching this video can of course access the website cscmp.org.
Absolutely.
And find out more information that way, correct?
Yep, if you go on the website you'll actually see we do have a young professionals page on the website with information on the committee and upcoming activities focused at young professionals.
Well, let's hope that next year when we meet again in Denver that we see some beginnings of some real results of your efforts.
Appreciate it, Bob. Thanks for the opportunity and hopefully this helps us continue to spread the word on what we're doing.
Thanks for sharing your story, John.
Great.
Great. I've been speaking with John Bowersox of Kohler Company. Thank you very much for watching.